Hey everyone, welcome to our photographic webinar live on photographing and shooting major advertising campaigns. Now, myself, I'm a commercial and celebrity fashion advertising photographer, Kevin Michael Schmitz. I shoot campaigns all over the world. I shoot for Burberry, for Giorgio Armani. I've also shoot a lot of lifestyle campaigns for major hair brands, as well as I shoot for like Pepsi and Smirnoff and Coors Light. So I do a lot of different types of commercial advertising campaigns, both photographic and directing it as far as filming commercials. But today we're going to be going in depth about how to shoot them and also how do we land them? How do we actually book these campaigns? We're also going to be bringing on some amazing panelists, some incredible photographers and directors that I have mentored and guided that have just recently landed some huge campaigns. And we're going to talk to them about how they did it. And we're going to go in depth about the whole process as far as how they bid on it, how they landed it, who the decision makers are, and then also how the shoot went. And essentially, what are some of the challenges that you run into and some of the things that we need to overcome. Now, I've been doing this a long time, and I have had a really, really incredible career as far as being able to create and shoot amazing stories with my photographic and video production content. And I know for many of you guys, if you are a photographer, usually the kind of the end all be all is to shoot big time fashion editorials for magazines, as well as landing the actual advertising campaigns that are going to be gracing the pages of those magazines as far as the major ads. Also, you were talking to a lot of photographers that have transitioned into shooting high-end commercial production and are directors as well. So, and I do feel that in this day and age, going into 2026, it's really, really important to not only shoot mind-blowing photographic content for commercial advertising, but also to film large-scale commercial video production, because that's kind of where we need to be right now, especially in the age of AI. Because as photography is shifting and a lot of major brands, even brands like Guess, are just doing AI campaigns, there are still obviously a lot of photographic campaigns going on, but what is happening is it's going to take a lot longer to replace video production and commercial direction than it is to replace photographic campaigns, because AI is much further along with still content as opposed to the video content with telling stories. So I do recommend that many of you guys right now, if you do want to stay ahead of the game, a couple of the things that I do suggest going into shooting commercial production is, first of all, you've got to offer video, because video is like everything. And we all have video, photographic cameras that shoot video now, I mean, whether you're shooting with the Sony A7 series, or you're shooting like me with the Canon series. Like, I love R5s and R5Cs and R5 Mark IIs. And like, I love being able to shoot with photographic mirrorless cameras that also shoot in 8K video. And oftentimes I am using those on my commercial productions. If I'm not using those, I'll be shooting with large scale. If it's a big video commercial, I might be shooting it with an Arri Alexa or Red camera. But oftentimes I do try to shoot with my Canon R5Cs. I think that those are really, really strong cameras still, because I shoot in 8K and the focusing system is absolutely fantastic. Now, another thing that I do recommend right now, and I've been talking to a lot of photographic agents that represent photographers, one really great angle that you guys should be getting into with shooting campaigns right now is stay ahead of the game. Instead of like being concerned that AI is going to take over our jobs and our projects, I believe, and it's still a lot of these agents that I've talked to, like George Perez at JP Reps, who used to represent me, as well as Jay Foster at 46 Pictures. These are agents in which we've had as panelists just recently in some of our incredible in-person photographic workshops, as well as the Photographers University. And these incredible agents have talked about how they are packaging the project to be able to not just shoot the campaign, but doing an AI, essentially like a hybrid, where I'm going to photograph with the celebrity, or I'm going to photograph with the talent, but I'm going to use AI for a lot of the rest of it, for the backgrounds, to cleaning it up, to adding in maybe certain characters or adding in certain elements, and marketing yourself as a photographer or commercial director with an AI studio. And this can be really, really palatable right now to agencies because they want to get into AI, but a lot of them are a bit scared of like, oh, well, if it doesn't turn out right or it looks too fake, it's going to kind of make them look bad. And they want to make sure that they're always going to have the best perception to the client. So if you can come in and kind of fill the gap there where you can offer photographic content that you shoot live action and then you can integrate it with AI, seems to be working really, really well right now. So instead of them, saying, hey, it's going to cost $700,000 to do this job, well, maybe you can do it for $100,000, but a lot of the heavy lifting is using AI, and you're going able to shoot the campaign with the characters and then use AI rendering for a lot of the essentially the CG and stuff like that. So excellent. And if you guys, I do notice some of you guys are asking to speak, which I really appreciate, like Kelly and such. We are going to be bringing on a series of panelists. And I would encourage you guys to message in the chat if you've got any specific questions at the very moment. We'd love to hear them and we can answer them live. And we're also going to bring on these amazing panelists as well. So now, if you guys are interested in shooting large-scale commercial advertising campaigns, it is something that, of course, many of us, this is what we all strive to do. We want to land these jobs because the reason is, guys, we are creators, we're photographers, and we want to create content that is completely world-class, and we want to get paid to be an artist. And I can't tell you how important that is, because when we're paid to be an artist, we get to do what we absolutely love to do, and we get to get paid for it. So essentially, commercial advertising, it is kind of the end-all be-all for many artists. Now, there are, of course, a lot of purists. I did my bachelor's in photography and my MFA to be a professor of photography I pursued at the Academy of Art San Francisco. So for me, I did have a deep interest in the art side of it, absolutely. But when it comes down to it, I want to get paid really, really well to do what I love to do. And the only way to do that is to shoot commercial advertising. And that's essentially the end all be all of what a lot of us want to do. Now, I was able to direct this absolutely incredible Elite Masterclass that we just directed. This was about a week and a half ago that we shot this. We shot this on location in Los Angeles. We shot at multiple insane locations. And by the way, all this content I'm showing you, this is raw footage, straight out of camera, not even edited yet. But I just thought I would share with you guys a series of these clips that we can put together in a final commercial campaign that we're going to be pitching to Ford, because we had some of our attendees wanting to shoot Ford F-150 campaigns. So this is one of the methodologies in which to land a campaign, and that's to actually produce one and put it all together, art direct it, tell the story, shoot it with multiple different focal lengths and angles. We also shot on the ground with 8K cameras, shot with R5s and R5Cs with gimbals. And we also shot with aerial drones, as you can see here. And we shot some amazing content that we're able to put together. And we're going to be editing this down to a full-scale Ford F-150 campaign. Now, these are typically about a $750,000 job. So they are generally very, very high production, very expensive to produce. And these are something that what was really cool because, directing the Elite Masterclass, I've been directing the Photography Workshop Series for the last 16 years. And we're able to produce something like this where we were able to shoot like a $750,000 campaign and use this as an opportunity to leverage to land a Ford F-150 campaign. Now, in the final edit, we're going to be cutting this down to a 30-second spot. We're also going to be putting in logos. We're going to be putting, sound. We're going to be putting in, the whole, the topography and everything like that. And to make it a final slick Ford F-150 campaign, we're going to be marketing this to Ford because we want to show them we can shoot the product. We're also going to be showcasing this content to some of the competitors like GM and Chevy and Dodge, Ram, and those type of brands. And we're going to be showcasing this. And when we actually edit this together as a full-scale campaign, they'll perceive it as, oh my gosh, well, you just shot the Ford F-150 campaign. We're interested. And if we show it to Ford, we can show it to Ford as like, hey, this is a concept shoot that we'd want to do for your Ford F-150 with the latest one. We would like to shoot the next one. So either way works really, really well. And this is something, if you want to break in to the most lucrative form of photography, this is the best way to do it. The most lucrative form of all photography is commercial lifestyle automotive photography. Basically what we just showed you, which is shooting with cars and people. That's the most lucrative form. Their typical budgets are anywhere from $500,000 to $1.5 million per shoot, to give you an idea. And I have brought on some of these amazing panelists, like executive creative directors and art producers that actually land these campaigns. I brought them on as panelists at prior webinars, as well as part of the Photographers University, as part of in-person at our in-person workshops as well. And we bring them on talking about these shoots. And this is something in which I get really excited about, because when the decision makers are actually with you, they can talk like candidly about their actual campaigns. And I'll even talk to you about a few of them. So we brought on Mario Gomez, who is he was an executive creative director for Sapient Razorfish. He also has art directed many of these campaigns. He brought on this world-class commercial photographer and director, Dave, who he lives in LA. And these are all examples of these shoots. Most of these are in the $700,000 to $1.2 million range. And he handled quite a few of these because he was handling essentially all of the campaigns that had to do with specifically Maserati, Fiat, Dodge, Chrysler, all of those. So he was able to handle, and then there's, of course, you can see he shot a whole bunch of these other ones like Hyundai and Mercedes and everything like that. But this gives you an idea of commercial advertising at a really, really high level, and especially in the automotive lifestyle world. So when we shot something like this to break into it, and this is, of course, coming from my amazing photographers that I'm coaching, they wanted to shoot Ford F-150 campaigns. So we essentially designed campaigns similar to this, where it has a lifestyle feel. We even included some diversity, some different ethnicities. We shot with, and we actually chose to do a couple having like this amazing romantic moment, and we told these stories. But this is doing it at a really, really, really high level. And this isn't, if you guys want to get into high-end commercial advertising, this is kind of where I recommend, going in this direction. So this is, essentially you're getting slices of life, like these moments where people are just having fun, and you feel like it kind of breaks a lot of the rules, the typical traditional rules of photography. But essentially we're capturing these moments where we feel like we're inside of the scene with the talent. And that makes all the difference in the world, because if you feel like you're inside of the scene, you're going to be, it just feels more natural, more real, more authentic. And you're going to create the best of the best of the best content. And that's what, of course, we want to do. We want to create the best of the best. So a few great ways to look this up and to find what is happening right now, and even get yourself in what we call a high-end source book. A really good way to do this is there's a couple of these source books. One of them is Workbook. Another one is called Le Book. And essentially, they are source books where a lot of these world-class photographers like Dave and many of them, they are going to be listed in these source books. These source books also have events. And I'm actually personally going to go back and start doing these again, but I used to do a lot of these at the Le Book in Los Angeles, but they do them all over the world. And what these are is essentially really great ways of, seeing, where things are, right? I just looked up Ford, right? For instance, and here are some of the Ford campaigns, right? I just literally looked up Ford, and you could see, Ford's different campaigns for Ford Explorer, the electric car, and also, of course, Tom Ford, other fashion brands and beauty brands and stuff like that. But this can give you an idea of actual campaigns that are being listed right now. And you can also look up who the creative director was, who the agency was, who the photographer was, who the director was, and also even sometimes who the stylists were, as well as the talent and stuff like that. So this is really, really valuable. And I think that many of you guys, if you want to, get to this level, one of the best ways to do it is going to these events as well. Now, they have the LeBooks Connections events, which are the ones I was referring to, and I've been to these. I've been to multiple of these. Like it looks like the next one coming up is in London, then Atlanta, then Dubai, but they do them all over the world. And major markets. And essentially what these are very, very, very elite, essential like industry trade show events where they are only for commercial photographers and directors. That's it, right? And their agents that represent them. So oftentimes how they do it is it's very, very like selective. It's very, it's not in a massive scale. It's very, very like curated events to only the best people in the industry. So, the events I went to in Los Angeles, there were maybe like 30 to 40 agents there that represent photographers, and then the photographers that they represent. Each agent represented between 4 and like 12 photographers. So essentially each agent had a booth, and these are photographic agents that represent photographers and directors, and they would have a collection of all the portfolios of the photographers, and then like of course like computers with monitors showing on the terminals like what their content was, especially for video. Now these are really valuable because the people that come to these are the head decision makers, like creative directors at advertising agencies, as well as art buyers, producers at ad agencies. Those are generally your main decision makers that are going to be coming to these events. And they're going to be there. And if you meet them, they're the ones that are doling out these $700,000 campaigns. So the more of these people that you build relationships with, the more opportunities you're going to have. So for instance, for me, probably because I'm based in Los Angeles primarily, I kind of work between LA, New York, Paris, and Miami. I'm, the ones that would be most valuable to me would probably be the New York connections, because of course those are the biggest heavy hitters, and then Los Angeles connections. So those would be really, really valuable to me. And then also either Milan or Paris. And Paris just passed. They just had it October 1st. But they have some other, amazing ones coming up. Now, generally they do have another one coming up in Paris in March, but you'll notice that some of the real heavy hitter locations like Los Angeles, Paris, and Los Angeles, they'll have more of these events than other cities. So, but you'll notice kind of a lot of the same cities. There's quite a few in Chicago. They have them in Amsterdam. They have them in Miami, London, Dubai, etc. But they also have Berlin and other smaller markets. But these can be really, really valuable. They are expensive, just FYI. Oftentimes, it could be several $1,000s just to have a booth there. And then also you've got to, of course, build your booth, and you have to print out all the collateral and stuff like that. So it can be, an investment, but in the end, of course, this stuff's really, really valuable, because this is where all the decision makers are. And if you want to be with the decision makers, you have to go to where the decision makers are going to be. And this is a great way to do it. A lot of times, photographers are just going to like the cheapest way in, and trust me, that's not going to be the way. You are going to have to invest in yourself, in your marketing, your portfolio, your brand, and your advertising, because that's what advertising agencies are doing. And if you are trying to shoot advertising campaigns for clients, well, literally that's what clients are doing. They're doing the same thing. They're investing in their advertising. They're investing in their marketing. And that's what you need to do as well, because you are a small business and you need to treat your photography and your video production as a small business, because that's what it is, right? So hopefully some of this stuff makes sense. I'd love for you guys to jump on, ask some questions in the chat. So that I can answer it. And also, I'm going to have some incredible panelists come on and speak. Now, I would really love, there's a gentleman on here named Brian Stanley. I would be absolutely honored to have Brian join us live during the session. There he is. Hey. Brian Stanley, is such a pleasure to have you on. It's an absolute honor. And guys, just so you know who Brian is an incredible photographer who, and Brian, you came to me because I know you do a lot of more consumer photography, more portraits, more sports, and you've been doing that for a long time, and you've been very good at it, but you wanted to kind of take it up to the next level, didn't you? And you want to shoot bigger commercial jobs. So tell us about like what you've been shooting and kind of what the transition is to where you're going to next.
Well, you're right. I shot a lot of sports, mostly sports portraits, using fog machines and all that fun stuff. Did a lot of engagements. Matter of fact, I still probably do one of the most engagements than anybody in the state of Colorado.
Wow.
So I still, especially on the surprise side. And then I shoot wildlife, and but I wanted to take it. Wildlife's hard to make money at. The school stuff, it's volume, and I really wanted to take. I felt it needed to go to another level, and the first time I saw one of these webinars, you were actually advertising for Miami. And I was like, yes, that's what I want to do. You know, how do I do that? So that's how I got hooked up with you and you and Eric and started going forward to where now I'm looking at doing more commercial stuff and shot in LA with you guys, which was awesome. Just got off just before this, got off with Eric as we were going through our photos that we shot there, and then turned around and got off and jumped onto this call. So yeah.
Fantastic. This is the Miami experience you were talking about. So this one initially caught your interest. You got excited. You want to get involved with us. And then tell us the process of what made you decide, first of all, because, you wanted to go from consumer to commercial. What made you want to jump into commercial photography?
At least for me, it was the lifestyle side of the commercial side of still being able to be creative and use the stuff that I was created for in the sports world and even wildlife, trying to find that right angle, that I felt like I could do it on a commercial side. And of course it's going to pay a lot more, bottom line, it's going to pay more. You don't have to do as many to make the same amount of money. So, that's where and it was variety. There's so much out there that you can do, my initial part is to go after everything that's sports or outdoors. Well, oh my gosh, that's, I could spend a lifetime probably going after everything that does that, so I didn't just define saying I'm only doing cars or I'm only going to do motorcycles or I'm only want to shoot, beverage stuff. I wanted it out there to
yeah. So talk to me about some of this content that you wanted to, we just shot this at the LA Masterclass. These are just straight out of camera, some incredible scenes. We ended up essentially shooting about 12 different commercial advertising campaigns during the 5-day Elite Masterclass that we just did 2 weeks ago. And we included Coca-Cola. I know you had some great concepts that you wanted to incorporate with Yeti, which is a cooler and thermos brand, Blackstone barbecue grills. We did Ford F-150. We did Lululemon. We did Nike. We did Adidas. We did a whole series. We did Free People. We did Alice and Olivia Zimmerman. We did all these different branding campaigns. And tell me, what was that experience like? And did you have a certain series that you just fell in love with the most?
Probably yes. I mean, to start with, the experience was incredible, and it also was eye-opening. If you notice the sun rays that's in these gorgeous photos, I had to get used to that. Me and you talked that first day of being able to understand that this is lifestyle. This is not defined portraits of just perfect shots with absolutely perfect lighting. This is real life lifestyle type events. Once I kind of handled that after the first day, it made it easier shooting the next days and start looking for it. But then also working with Eric, I had shots that Eric was like, these are gorgeous. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with these. And I didn't understand. I didn't understand that this is all going under my fashion or under my apparel type side of my website. Because of what we're showing in the different apparel. So I had to step back and go back and look through those photos again and say, what would this be for an actual commercial or an ad of some sort? So it's been eye-opening for sure, and growing. But I'm finally I'm really feeling excited about it. You know, did I have a favorite one? Yes and no. I mean, the one in the Coke, I loved the Coke one. I got to shoot that first. Gretchen was she's just amazing. We had her in several different things. The Gatorade ad also, or yoga. I mean, it's it just there's so much that's exciting, and now some of the stuff that I wasn't so excited about, I'm actually now, after working with Eric, a little more excited about it, going, I get it now. And this is, we can use this to go after. We just found one today with the guy in the coveralls, and we realized what he was wearing. We looked up the manufacturer. They're a big outdoors company, you know? It was like, whoa, this is right down my alley. This is what I'm looking for. I had to know that no one's going after that picture to use it most likely on their ads, but they're going to know that I can shoot that.
Totally.
So
totally.
That this scene with her and the other girl and the horse that I took when you said just take them somewhere, and I went up and took them by the tub. I love it.
I do too. And this is really showing off some of your portraiture skills because it's a single model. But then we also shot a whole series of incredible stuff with multiple models,
yes,
which is really cool. And what was how did that feel? Because it's a very, very different way of shooting when you're shooting multiple models in one scene.
Yeah, that was two models wasn't that bad. 3 was different because a lot of times that third one's a little bit behind and they might not be in focus. And again, I was back to used to having everything absolutely sharp and in focus. And then other times they all 3 would be. It just depends on what the shot was and what the distance was for them. But
yeah, absolutely.
It actually became fun because it became a challenge too. And it was a fun challenge to see what I could come up with.
Absolutely. And the content's incredible. I mean, I love these, and this is very, very commercial advertising. I love this, for ALO, this is an incredible advertising campaign. And you have all of the moments here. You have the diversity, different ethnicities. You've got smiles and energy. They're outdoor at an incredible location. You've got the solar flare coming through. And then most importantly, you captured it really well, showcasing the brand. So now you have ALO, you can see it. And it's not in your face, but it's very obvious that it's for ALO. And this is a very great example of shooting a commercial advertising campaign for a lifestyle apparel brand. I love this, Brian. So,
thank you.
I went through your content and I was just completely floored. I absolutely loved it, but there's just so much content. You shot tens of thousands of images and video. But I do want to, before I go too far into the content itself, why don't you tell us about the advertising campaign that during the workshop you landed, which was so cool. And you started off with coming to Kevin, to myself and Eric. We went and we discussed hey, this is a pharma campaign that, you utilize everything from Photographers University to be able to have this opportunity. And it started off as you came to me and we're coaching you through it. And it started off as a $10,000 job. And then after we coached you through it, it got to be a $35,000 job. And then you landed it and you booked it and then you shot it. It was incredible. And all of that process from, just more than tripling, actually almost quadrupling how much it originally was in the end. And then they ended up buying some additional images after the fact. So tell us about that and the brand and how you're able to kind of raise the level of the budget up after our guidance and coaching.
Well, yeah, I got a call from them looking for photographers, and the one girl that's in charge, Taylor, her assistant, was calling everybody, and they really weren't having any luck. They had a lot of people saying, yes, I can do headshots. And why this is not a headshot deal. This is, full thing for your websites. Pharmalogics is a pharmaceutical company that does a lot of R&D. Their buildings are very bright white. It's all radioactive stuff, even though we were safe. But everybody was in lab coats, so that was white. The walls are white. The lights are bright, and they wanted to capture that and capture what the models that I had to bring in, that they act like they were actually working there, look like they were working there, and they were working together. And I kept asking questions of, what's your budget? What are you going to use these for? And I couldn't get answers because the assistant didn't know them, and she couldn't get them. And finally she came to me, can you put a budget together? And it was kind of ironic that I said, fine, you're getting 10 images, only website only, because that's what you told me. And you're using your people as the models. And that budget was 10 grand. And then all of a sudden she comes back when I sent it to her and says, oh, we got all the answers. Our budget is 10 grand. We are not using our people. You need to bring in at least 3 models that are diversified. And we want 30 images for both website and social media. Well, that's when I didn't even bother calling them and saying, hey, this doesn't work. All I did was went back with your guys' help, and I rewrote the whole contract and everything, and added all the additional costs in, because I needed a makeup artist and hairstylist, I needed the 3 models. Now we need to bring in lunch for everybody, where we were really trying to cut it tight without doing that. So when I sent him the quote, the assistant came to me and called me up and says, Brian, this is way over the budget. I'm like, yeah, your budget was what I sent you the first time. I said, but you can't have that budget with 3 models and have to have a hairstylist, and you want now 3 times as many photos. I said, and I had it detailed out thanks to you looking at some of your quotes. Everything was line item to death. And her response was, it doesn't look like there's any wiggle room. And my response was, no, there isn't. I just left it at that. Because like you had told me, don't worry about it. If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's your first one. And then you said, well, either they're going to go back to your original quote and do it that way, or they're just going to take you. And sure enough, the next day I get the email saying, we want you on board. We want to shoot this on, it was actually that Wednesday after I got back from LA shoot. Here's the signed contract, and we will have your deposit over to you a little later today, which they did.
That sounds amazing. I mean, that's like the best possible situation. And thank you very much, Brian, for, participating in the coaching and guidance, and then taking our guidance and applying it, because it then essentially quadrupled how much the budget was in the end. And it worked out. You landed the job, everything worked out, and you're already talking about the next job you're going to do with them. And now, Brian, what he was referring to is he was like, he took one of our, budgets that from one of my campaigns. I'll actually show it to you guys. And then he incorporated this into his own formatting. And didn't you take this and then use ChatGPT to essentially adapt it to your branding?
Yeah, because yours had a lot more stuff than I needed. So I had to narrow that down. And so it kind of got, it kind of got unorganized a little bit once I broke it down. So I literally threw it in ChatGPT and asked it to do it. And then I asked it to do it again. It gave me a couple different options, and I said, blend those 2 options, and it did. And the contract it came out really nice. I mean, it's a great tool to use. And I've been using it now for that, and to even writing emails to people, just to get, I used it for my new website that's not launched yet, but to talk about, where it was about me. I put everything in and let it write it, because it did a lot better job than I could.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, and I'm glad you incorporated this, because this is an example of a really a solid budget for a campaign, and it gives you all the details of a typical commercial budget, $200,000 job, and this is in line. And of course, he had to strip it down a bit, because his was like a $35,000 job. But this is a normal one, and this is one in which he can use this as a really, really strong template, so that it became really easy for him to put it together and then adapt it to his own branding. But I think that this is important. And also we talked about having a proposal. So Brian, one of the things I remember coaching you on was, hey, it's really important that we have not just like throw numbers at them, but put a full proposal together.
Right.
This is an example of a full proposal. This is like a 27-page proposal with all the details of who we are, what we do, our director's treatment, the mission, the emotions, the tagline, the audience, essentially what the story is going to be, what the where is it going to be, the locations, examples, my actual websites of where they can pull examples from, and then actual campaigns I've shot in the past that line up with what they're trying to do, which really helps, because they can click on these links and they can see, oh yeah, okay, I get it. Now this is the idea. You've already shot this before. Now I have even more confidence in you. And these are all these like other, different campaigns I've shot that are right in line with it. And then we got the actual production estimate with all of the terms and conditions, which end up being really important. Now, Brian, one of the things I thought that was really important was we had a lot of discussion about pricing it as usage per image. And I'm really glad you did that. And tell me a little bit about how you did it, where you priced it per image, and why you did it that way.
Well, one, because I saw that you had it listed there. So everything was broken out. Every camera, every lens, all that was broken down. And then when we got to the usage fee, I started off at $375 for the usage fee per photo. And then because it was a website only, then when they asked for social media, I raised it to $475 per image. Not doing it before, I didn't know exactly where to start. Some of your other quotes that you had, you didn't have, I think one of your quotes, you didn't have a photography fee, but you had more in the usage fee.
Yes.
And so it was like, do I go that route or I go this route? And frankly, knowing that the original budget was, and what I sent them was around 10 grand, I couldn't very well, I didn't think I could really push it and do $1,000 per image, especially when they wanted 30 of them, and that they were going to get, I was going to get there, I might have just blown myself from what they were looking for. I don't know. I was kind of reading the customer too, which being in sales in the past, I'm used to doing.
Yeah, you were referring to this one. So I gave you an example of a pharma campaign that I'd done. It was a $136,000 job. Now, this one was one in which I did not, this one I did have a photographer fee, but then I also broke it out as a usage fee per select image.
Right.
I did it this way because I had a relatively lower photography of just $5,000 a day, but I had a usage fee of $5,000 per select image, knowing that they're going to want to buy more. And also the other thing too here is that this is for a buyout of like use in America, right? Now, oftentimes what happens is that it might be for a certain country or a region or something like that. And then they might come back later and say, hey, we want to buy more for another country. And this does happen to me. Like for instance, not for this campaign, but another one I did for Smirnoff, they went back and they're like, okay, well, you already shot the campaign. We're really happy with it. We chose these select images all over US, but we want to buy for Canada and we want to buy for certain European countries. So they came back and we negotiated to buy out for the additional countries. And that can happen too. So,
okay.
And this is why it's really important, guys, to retain your rights and to essentially license usage, because this is what you can retire on, this kind of money. It could be really, really lucrative over the long haul, especially dealing with pharma campaigns and things like this. So, and Brian, talk to me about the actual shoot itself. It sounded like it went really, really well, and they're so excited they want to work with you again, right?
Yes. The shoot was, I want to say it was super easy. I got a little nervous when I first got there because they limited us down to 2 rooms, and one room was so tiny that it only has robot arms in it. So I was like, what all am I going to get out of this? And then not having one of the rooms that we looked at the day before because they started product, I was like, am I going to be able to give them more than 30 to choose from? Well, it wound up not being a problem once I got shooting. I kept coming up with ideas and different things, and they actually had 83 to choose from. Yeah, they absolutely loved it. Matter of fact, I was on with the assistant yesterday, and before she hung up, she goes, I want to take that we all love everything that you did. And I'm like, nice. I turn around and they're building another facility like this in Pittsburgh, and it won't be ready until November next year. But we've already started talking about, hey, we need to shoot this before you actually turn on the switch to start making product again, so that we can utilize every room and show off everything that you do.
Absolutely. That sounds awesome. So you're already, and you feel like it's going to be a bigger budget this next time around?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
And I found out that the main lady, Taylor, also deals with their investor network and has to do everything with the investors. So I already talked with Brandon. Brandon shot some for investors for video. So she's kind of a one-person team. So I'm going to send her a thing saying, hey, if you ever thought about this, we can also do a video for your investors and try to see if we can just start doing even more stuff before November.
Yeah. And we're in what he's referring to, guys, just so everyone knows, is Brandon Fortino, who is an incredible filmmaker, videographer, commercial director who attended the masterclass along with 2 of his colleagues. The 3 of them came together. They shot mind-blowing video content that really, really, really heavy video, because these workshops are not just for photographers, or also for directors and filmmakers and cinematographers. And what's great is that we had such an incredible team, such a great group of people at this masterclass, that everyone worked so flawlessly together. And then now I hear all these stories about you guys all working together now, which is really cool, and landing each other jobs. Like, I think Karen just hooked Brandon up with a job in New York. And now Brian's talking about working with Brandon as well. And they're going to be working together. And it's great. It's building this network of amazing people. And I know you guys all stay in touch afterwards, and you built these incredible friendships and collaborations. So I love to hear that. And also, of course, look at this incredible content. I mean, this is some of the sports stuff that Brian art directed, and some beautiful content to pitch to Nike. That we did, and this is just I think day 2. Each one of these productions, it's 5 days. We shot I think over 12 campaigns over 5 days, and I mean, unbelievable top models, incredible storytelling, beautiful styling with my top lifestyle fashion stylist, who just did an incredible job. Kathy Frangi did an amazing job at this one. Anyway, I am totally over the moon over this content that you shot. And it's very, very specific to landing advertising campaigns, showcasing the products, showcasing the stories, showcasing people together. And this is all just content straight out of camera, guys. This is not even retouched or anything. This is just gorgeous, gorgeous content that, that Brian shot throughout the experience. And I'm really, really proud of it. Now, when it comes to going after those sports campaigns, Brian, do you have a certain series of brands that you want to go after, that you feel are, are you going to go after Alo and Nike, or, who are you going to go after and target artists?
Well, I'm going to go after every single one that we had product for sure. But I'm not, after that, I'm not saying, I only want to shoot for this company. I want that door to stay wide open, and I don't want to sit there and go, I want Adidas and Reebok is knocking on the door, Yep. So I'm leaving it wide open. But 100%. Everything that we shot, Lululemon, Yeti, Blackstone. I'll be going both to ad agencies and maybe even just directly to them too.
Yeah, and look at the lighting here. This lighting is immaculate, by the way. I mean, absolutely gorgeous, beautifully lit. And we shot this all with giant bounces and scrims to create this beautiful lighting. Just absolutely stunning, gorgeous content. I'm really, really proud of you here, Brian. I mean, everything we're looking at is just absolutely breathtaking. And we shot so much over the course of 5 days. I mean, the content is like, I mean, you guys are just looking at some of his selects. These are not even like all his images. These are just like selects of the best of the best content.
I'm not even done with day 5 yet.
So. And we also shot mature models as well. So as you can see some of them here. So we shot some of these moments in which we're working with mature models. We had children models. We had young adults. We had family scenarios, and a lot of this stuff with like the mature models is fantastic also for doing pharma campaigns, stuff like this for, you know, Ford campaigns, F-150. I mean,
that one was shot with my 600 lens, by the way.
Wow. Well, it's perfection. It's absolute perfection. But you can see the threading together of these stories and all the different campaigns that we got. You know, we did the North Face, we did Patagonia. We shot with Nike, I mean, all of these different brands. It was pretty exciting and pretty incredible. And Brian, tell me a little bit about what it was like as far as the people and like the group that you had.
Well, couldn't ask for probably better. Well, we have 8 photographers there that we all got along. We all looked after each other. I mean, a few of them got sick, and we all worried to make sure that they were going to be fine. And the models were the same way. The models were they were so personable. I mean, if you went to known any different, they were all willing to work, all wanting to shoot. I told Eric, one of the older models was ready out in the desert, and she's like, the sun's going down, I have no one to shoot me. And she was like wanting to get photos, and so I said, don't worry about it, I got you covered. I just turn around so we have the sun at your back. And so we started shooting. And what I liked about our whole session, and hopefully the next one is the same way, is and you were good about it. You were just like, I'm busy helping these guys with Ford. Take these people over there and start doing this, or you start this one and you start that one, and I'm going to be over here. And we just had so many going on. I think we sometimes had, out of the 8 people, 5 shooting different people at once in the evening.
And that's pretty incredible. And, you know, we're designed to maximize content. And obviously that's all you did, because you're shooting, you know, 6-7 hours straight, just nonstop, and then shooting 2, 3, sometimes 4 sets simultaneously. And then we're doing, you know, multiple video production scenes, shooting both vertical for Instagram stories and reels, to also horizontal for the full scale commercial campaign. And then we're shooting all these different scenarios simultaneously. I mean, it was incredible. You know, we generally would have like 3 Canon R5s and R5Cs going simultaneously filming, plus an aerial drone, and everyone's on the ground shooting. So it was pretty insane. So awesome. And by the way, we have some people in the audience asking some questions and making some comments. So Susan Lloyd says, you're speaking to my soul, very similar backgrounds to mine, and I really want to jump from consumer to commercial. Brian, can you talk to Susan about that transition, and, you know, how you're doing that with jumping from consumer to commercial? Because that is a pretty big jump.
It is a big jump. But you have to, I decided I have to jump totally into it. You know, am I still shooting some sports stuff, some stuff for schools and everything? Yes. But since I went to the class and did all these shoots, I've limited it, because I know my time needs to be full, both feet in, and get this done and get it out there. I think I said that when I sent you some of those photos of day 5 today. I said, I just need this out so that the world can see this. And I think that's the only way that you get into the commercial side, personally, is my opinion, is you got to jump with both feet and just go. If you're trying to do it a little bit at a time, I don't think you'll ever get there. You'll get stuck in your same thing that you were doing forever.
Absolutely. I'm actually really glad that you mentioned that. And if you look at the content right here, just look at the picture on the screen. This shows exactly like the difference between consumer and commercial. Consumer is generally photographing a person for themselves as a portrait that they can put in their house somewhere or whatever. Commercial is the characters become, the talent becomes characters in a story, and they're telling a story. And so it's not particularly about them. It's about the story that they're doing around that product or brand, which is what you're created right here. Like, this is so authentic. And by the way, I mean, this is a raw image, unedited, unretouched, not even touched, but the sun is going down. They're out camping. There's 3 girls having just this fun little barbecue out there. They're barbecuing, and you shot with both Yeti. You also have Blackstone. You could be sharing this with them. You could also be sharing this with like Heinz ketchup and some of these other products. But they're literally eating, and they're having a realistic, like, camping experience, which I find fantastic. So this is a big difference between consumer and commercial. And I think that, Brian, I work with a lot of consumer photographers that struggle big time with this transition, because just this transition creatively, I mean, not even like the professionally, but creatively, where all they want to do is take pictures of the models like they would a senior portrait, or like they would, shooting weddings, but it needs to be shot differently. You, Brian, mastered this. I'm just going to tell you, I'm really, really proud, because Brian is a great example of how a consumer photographer can master doing commercial photography, because the images you're showcasing here, they don't look like it's for the person as a portrait. They look like it's a commercial campaign for the client. And you did it at such a high level, because the models are incredible. We cast from like 15 modeling agencies in Los Angeles, from Elite, Wilhelmina, Next, Vision, LA Models, Click Models, Zombie Models, Aston Models, Brand Models, Intel. I mean, it goes on and on and on. We cast from the top 15 modeling agencies, and the photographers that attended not only came up with the concepts, like Brian actually came up with these ideas that we executed. So Brian was a part of this. He came up with the concepts that we shot and the storytelling. And then also some of the photographers, like Matt Shogan, who's on right now, he helped us cast it. He helped us select the models. And I know, Brian, I want you to be involved with that too on the next production, where we're actually having you as a part of the casting process. So you get to pick of the best of the best of the best models to select for the campaign. And that's a whole process that is really fun to do, but also it's a great learning experience as well. But there's so much to it. And instead of going out there and just taking a picture of a person, you're planning it, you're art directing it, you're casting it, you're creating these moments, you're putting it together, you're telling the story, you're allowing it to unfold, and then boom, then you're capturing it. And that's what you did, Brian. And you did it in a world-class way. And I'm really, really impressed. And we're only looking at the first couple days here of our production that are absolutely astounding. So, if you have any advice for all these amazing photographers on right now that maybe they are stuck, they're in that consumer phase, they haven't really advanced, and maybe they've been doing the same thing for 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, and maybe they want to take it to the next level. Do you have any advice to them on how an elite masterclass with us would really transform their trajectory going forward?
I guess, when I first came on board with you guys, I just did the university and worked with Eric on just some things. And that's where I started seeing, okay, this is fine, but it's not going to get me to that point. Mm-hmm. When you keep telling everybody you need to shoot with some of the best, it shows. And to the point that I was like wondering why some of these people were coming on board and doing it in another one and another one. And I couldn't figure out why they kept going to these things. It's like, you already did one. Why are you going to more?
You're talking about why they keep coming workshop after workshop. After
workshop. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, but after going through this workshop and getting all this ready, I see why. I see that you just keep putting the best content you can out there, because I know it's going to land me a lot more jobs, and good jobs.
Yeah, and it already has, which is
yeah,
incredible,
and that wasn't even without any of this content. That job was based on my other website. So
yeah, but the strategies that you learned at the Photographers University allowed you to negotiate and to increase it to $35,000, which is what I'm super proud of.
Yeah.
Rena Catherine asks, if not the entire masterclass, then what about the master list? Is that available to purchase? Rena, what are you referring to with the master list? If you could elaborate on what you're asking in regards to that. Also, Tom J says, the purpose is to build your portfolio with awesome images. You're absolutely right. Tom J just worked with us at the last couple of productions at the French Dream Castle, and worked with us in New York, shooting mind-blowing content. Great comments, guys. I really, really, really appreciate it. And if you guys are interested in getting involved with any of these, unbelievable productions, we have a whole host of mind-blowing experiences coming up for 2026. And by the way, when you look at our websites, 100% of the content is shot by you. All the content you see on Photography Workshop Series website and Photographers University, it's all shot by attendees like Brian. Everything you see here, it's literally shot by you guys. So what's different about us as opposed to everybody else is all other photographic experiences out there are essentially just showcasing the instructor's content, which I don't feel like is very accurate, because the only thing that matters is the content you're shooting, the content Brian's shooting, for instance, and the content that you guys, that Tom J and, that all these, Mike Weilet, who just attended his 15th workshop with us, Prince Williams, that's on right now, Kat Robinson, that just joined us at the French Dream Castle in July, had shot these images, what you're looking at right here on the screen. I know Melissa Hardin's coming up to an upcoming experience coming up, which I'm excited to have you. Pat Major has been to multiple workshop experiences. We have Jane Ritchie. She's coming to, I think, her 4th or 5th workshop. Who's on right now. We have so many of our incredible photographers and past attendees. Jaime Rivera, who just has attended like multiple of our productions. And then, of course, Brian, who just attended the masterclass and has already signed up for Miami Beach. And I think like half of the attendees of the masterclass have already signed up for Miami Beach.
Yeah. Really cool. We're all going to have a reunion there.
You're going to have another great group down there. So just to give you guys an idea, we do these commercial lifestyle advertising workshops. We only have a real small select group of these where they're very, very high end. It's a small group of photographers. They're all designed around taking you guys to the next level. We have our Newport Beach experience that is available. This is in February, where it's right in line with what Brian did at the Elite Masterclass Los Angeles. We're going to be shooting on location in Newport Beach. We're going to be shooting with mind-blowing top supermodels, including even sometimes celebrity models like this. This is CJ Franco. She's actually a host of a Netflix show. She was one of our models for our workshops. We have just mind-blowing content. This was actually one that we did at Tanaka Farms in Irvine. Just incredible storytelling. I believe this was shot actually with an Alexa camera, which was incredible. We have spectacular stories, and even including mature models, young adult models, child models, family situations. This story was shot in collaboration with $1 Million Listing, and we shot at one of their $18.3 million estates. Just incredible storytelling. So this is essentially what it's going to be like in February. This is February 24th through 28th. And this will give you an idea of what that's all about. And what we do is every workshop that we do with the Photography Workshop Series is designed to line up with each other, so that when Brian attends the masterclass, as well as Miami, and then if he attends Newport Beach, all 3 of those workshops line up in synchronicity, so that the storytelling lines up, the look, the feel, the story, so that that 40 image cohesive body of work comes together really cleanly and beautifully. And that gives you an idea of what that's all about. So that's Newport Beach. Then, of course, the experience after that is going to be our Elite Masterclass on fashion. Now, this is one in which it's one of our most sought after productions. We shoot with big time supermodels that have been in Dolce & Gabbana, Prada, Louis Vuitton, Harper's Bazaar. These are the best of the best of the best. And this gives you an idea. This is where a lot of our photographers have won in the #1 fashion photographer in the world awards. We've won in the top 10 fashion photographers in America. 7 out of 10 of the top 10 fashion photographers in America shot at our workshops by our photographers. And we've won in the Color Awards, Lurzer's Archive, One Island Awards, International Photographer Awards. It goes on and on and on. Communication arts, we win over and over and over again. And a lot of these are actually from our Elite Masterclass on Fashion in LA and our New York Fashion Workshop. So this is happening in March. Each one is completely different from the next, but this is all content shot at the Elite Masterclass on Fashion. So completely over the top, high fashion, totally different than the content we just looked at. But we create these stories with you. So if you're attending, you get to design and storytell the concept that you want to create. And all this content was shot by our attendees at the Elite Masterclass Fashion Workshops over the last few years. So absolutely stunning content. And completely mind-blowing. I think this won, in the top 4 fashion photographer in America award with Scott Goodwin at our masterclass, where we shot a tribal fashion story. Totally over the top, completely insane, and beautiful, beautiful content and storytelling. Even this one, we shot at an airfield, and we published every single photographer that attended, which was pretty spectacular. I know some of you guys are on right now that are attending this live right now. I know Mike Weilet, I think he got the cover or back cover of this. And he also won in the Top Photographers in America award, which is really, really cool. Really proud of him for that. Then after that, guys, and I'm just kind of laying out the schedule for 2026. We've got our Miami Beach experience. This one's almost completely sold out. Like I mentioned, half the photographers that attended masterclass are coming to this one. This one's got 2 days of high-end swim photography, shooting with Sports Illustrated swimsuit models, as well as the models on location in Miami. This is what we shot on location in Key Largo at the owner of Elite Models Miami. Completely insane, over-the-top production. And a lot of fun. This is one of my favorites, personal favorites of the year. And this has 3 days commercial, real resort lifestyle commercial photography, and then 2 days swim on location, like you see here. So this, as you can imagine, is one of my most favorite workshops. And I know that this one is just about sold out. So if you guys did want to attend, definitely let us know if that's one of the experiences you want to get involved with. So it has this section, which is all shot with, beautiful swim photography. And then just like this with these supermodels, this is all shot by attendees. And then also beautiful resort lifestyle content like you see here that matches perfectly with what we just shot at our Newport Beach and our workshop at the Los Angeles Lifestyle Elite Masterclass. Then, of course, we after Miami Beach, we come to the French Dream Castle. Now, this, of course, many of you guys are aware of this, but this is essentially my personal castle. I own this 49-room palace in France, and this experience is not just an unbelievable photographic experience, but also you get to stay at my 49-room palace in France, where you're going to have a Michelin star chef. You're going to have butlers waiting on you. You're going to have maids. You've got a masseuse in the southeast tower, that round tower on the right there. We bring in horses, because I have horses at my palace here, and you get to sleep on a $30,000 gold leaf bed, and you get to photograph with supermodels and stay with them at the castle and have all Michelin star dining experiences. This includes breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we pick you up at the airport, whisk you away to the palace, and you have this experience of a lifetime. So this is the French Dream Castle experience, which is pretty awesome. And Tom J that attended, it was awesome to have him there. Tom was there in person, and him and his beautiful wife, which was fantastic. And then, of course, the French Dream Castle, to give you a little bit of an idea of what that looks like more so from the exterior. Here's some of that content as well. So we have a lot of photographers that want to shoot fashion, that want to shoot fashion, wedding photography, and even like fashion lifestyle that attend this workshop. This is pretty incredible experience. I think the last castle workshop, we also did some swim and lingerie as well. Because I own it, 12 acres of property, and we can do literally anything we want at this mind-blowing epic location. So this is the French Dream Castle. This is happening in July. We only open this up to one workshop a year at the French Dream Castle. And I'll be there hosting you guys personally for this experience of a lifetime. And this is the most ridiculous and over the top and largest scale production workshop that we do at the French Dream Castle. So anyway, following the French Dream Castle, we head to New York, where we shoot on location in New York. And we just did our New York workshop like literally a month and a half ago. And the New York experience is, the most elite fashion workshop that we do of the year. We get to work with all the supermodels that are in town from Milan and Paris because it's following Fashion Week. And many of you guys are on right now attended the New York experience, and this one's insane. Again, we only do New York once a year, and this is a real specialty workshop. This year we shot on location in Central Park. We shot on location in Bedford Hills at Equestrian Center. We shot in studio at Gatsby Studios. And then we shot on location in West New York over the entire city of New York. And that was pretty mind-blowing. This is another past experience we did on the rooftops over in New York and out in Long Island in Old Westbury. But absolutely insane production. We've even shot at locations like this, a castle designed to be identical to King Henry VIII's palace from the 1500s, on location with models from Gucci, Versace, and Dolce & Gabbana, which was pretty insane. And then, of course, our last workshop of the year, which is our commercial lifestyle elite masterclass, which we just attended. The one we're talking about right now that Brian attended and created all of this just absolutely stunning content. And this is, the level of production and scale that you guys can consider when coming to that experience. So yes, and Tom J says, with butlers and top chefs, you're right. Tom and his beautiful wife got to hang out and have champagne on the square tower overlooking the land of the Auvergne-Rhône Alps in France. And they got to be served with butlers and, having fine dining and all of that, incredible experience in France. It was absolutely insane. It was great to have you there, Tom. Anyway, I've had so much fun over the course of this year. This is our last workshop of the year that we just did at our Elite Masterclass on commercial advertising. And wow, it was literally the most over-the-top experience we did of the year. I'm super proud of what we achieved and what we created and the mind-blowing content that each and every one of our photographers got to create, because it was so over the top, so ridiculous. And it has prepared you guys to get to the highest level and to land these huge campaigns. We also had the great Mac Anthony that attended our workshops in New York just a month and a half ago. Eric coached him to land $70,000 worth of campaigns. We also had the great Karen Haberberg, who just attended our Elite Masterclass along with Brian. And she, following the workshop literally last week, she bid on a $150,000 campaign. Which was insane as well. So opportunities are abound, projects are out there, and getting involved with the Elite Masterclass of the Photography Workshop Series will completely catapult your photographic career to the highest echelon of your potential. Now, if you guys are interested in getting involved with us and creating the greatest content that you've ever done and ever shot in your lifetime, guaranteed, we also offer free photographic coaching and momentum sessions. Now, many of you guys have attended these already, but if you haven't, or if you have in the past, but you want to, kind of get ready for 2026 and take it to the next level, please go ahead and get involved with our photographic coaches. We have, if you click on that link in the chat, you can set up a one-on-one dedicated free photographic momentum session to help guide you and coach you to land major commercial advertising campaigns and take you to the highest level. And you can work with one of my coaches, and we can essentially discover your goals and discover why you haven't achieved those goals, and then give you that opportunity to lay out an entire plan and strategy to land your 2026 photographic commercial campaigns and to book yourself the biggest projects you've ever shot in your lifetime. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this session on photographing major photographic campaigns. And I can't wait to see you in person or at the Photographers University. We're going to have our next session starting in the new year in 2026. And then we're going to be doing our next photographic workshop experience in February on commercial lifestyle advertising in Newport. Thanks so much for joining me, and I can't wait to see you